Hey guys, Eric with H2 Equipment here. So a lot of times people call in and they want estimates. We don't give estimates. And a lot of people are a little off put by that. They're not understanding of that. So I'm going to try and explain to you why we don't give estimates on equipment. We try to give ballpark. We try to say, are you okay with spending X amount of dollars? And no, that's not because we want to spend all your money. Absolutely not. Here's the issue we have. We got a machine here, great customer. He brings it from 4 hours away, brings it down to us, repeat customer. Calls me up, says, hey, I got an old SkyTrack. This machine's probably around 25, maybe 30 years old. That's pretty aged. Got an old SkyTrack, cylinders are all leaking. What's it gonna cost? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I understand we work on equipment every day, but there's too many variables that happen. The biggest thing is, how are the pins gonna come out? Are we gonna have to torch them? Are we gonna have to lance them? I don't like doing that on this model because that engine bay is all exposed up there. There's a giant hole over that, and just with the way everything sits over it. Yes, we can cover it. We've done it before, but it's not fun. It's added risk. The biggest thing is, you know, sometimes those pins, we'll take them, they can drive right out. Take a hammer and a punch, we can push them right out. Those are not a through holes like those upper pins. We're not able to drive it all the way through. It means they have to come out this way, you know, so there's gonna be time and labor in that. You might have a cylinder, we just had this about a month ago on a newer Gale telehandler. The right side, pins came right out. It was literally a pair of channel locks. You pulled out those pins right out. The left side, we spent probably 2 or 3 hours beating on them and ended up taking a Sawzall, cutting the pins and ordering new pins from the factory. Well, those pins are anywhere from $200 to $400 a piece, depending on the setup of the pin. You know, even in the cylinders, these two cylinders here, we got the cylinders off, get them over on the cylinder bench, disassembled the first cylinder, nut ended up galling the threads on the rod. So when we spun that nut off, it galled the threads. We were able to save the rod, had to order a new nut. That nut was $350. You know, that's just, it all adds up. And that's the biggest reason why we do not give estimates, you know, because we don't want to tell you, yes, it's going to cost X amount of dollars, and then all of a sudden we're into it and we're taking double. You know, circling back to this machine, one of the final things he had us do is, hey, it's leaking oil out of this final drive. Open it up and see what's going on in there. And it was the perfect example of, yes, it needed to be done. It was leaking oil. We opened it up. The bearings were shot. You know, it was only a matter of time really before this whole spindle separated from the final drive assembly because the bearings were shot in there. And he did save it. Now, here's the problem is with the internal damage inside of there, those parts are not available anymore. Due to the age of this machine, they're not available. The construction industry is a nightmare when it comes to ordering parts. You go to the ag side, you can still get parts for your 1969 4020. You know, we can't on this stuff that's only 20 years old. The construction industry is just light years behind the rest of the world, and there's not nearly as many built. It's not as common. It's just their lack of part supply. So that's the biggest reason we don't give estimates. You know, we treat everybody fair. If we didn't, we wouldn't be in business. We wouldn't have repeat customers. We wouldn't have customers that bring us stuff from 4 hours away, put it on a trailer, haul the way down to us, and then use us and have a good working relationship with us. And that's what happens is people go, you hop online, you buy a piece of equipment, oh, I got it on auction at a great price. Okay, what's it need on the backside? Does it need another $10,000 worth of work? You don't know. That's the cost of ownership. But then you flip it on the other side of the coin. This is a 10,000 pound telehandler. What are you going to replace that? New? These run probably about $200,000 in today's market. He also realizes the cost of ownership didn't stop the day he wrote the check for the piece of equipment. You have to maintain, you have to repair, you have to do preventative maintenance. All of that is added cost. And that's the most important thing to get everybody to understand, and to also understand why we don't give estimates, because there's too many variables once you go into that. Especially on this construction equipment, you know, the thing I like to refer to is Ford Taurus. When Ford was building their Ford Taurus, they built 500,000 to 700,000 of those things a year. On these pieces of equipment, they may only be building 1,000, and that's it, 1,000. You know, so it's the information isn't there. A lot of the information was lost. A lot of these companies buy and sell each other. It's all bought in technology. And so then what we're stuck with finding is who actually owns the company, who actually supplies parts, where can we get schematics, where can we actually get a service manual on a lot of this stuff. So, but that's a big reason we're in business, because we have those contacts and we figured out how to do it. Sometimes you have to call the customer and say, hey, it's just not going to be doable, especially on this older equipment. If you want to go find somebody cheaper, you're more than welcome to. But circling back, that's a big reason we don't give estimates. Now you kind of know, you wouldn't think that something that's only 20, 25 years old wouldn't be such a struggle to find parts and have parts that are so obsolete for, but it is. That's the world we live in. There's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is try our best. Thanks, everybody.